Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so potential buyers have more information about the seller and the business to help them make a buying decision. Today we'll be talking about an affiliate business for sale, and I've got the seller with me today. So welcome to the show, Nick. How are you doing?
Hey Vinny, I'm doing really good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing really good as well. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. Really looking forward to talking more about your business. And just before we dive in, let me give a very brief summary for our listeners. So today's listing is an affiliate business created in February 2017 in the information and education niches. The average monthly revenue for the business is $24,317, and it makes an average of $21,176 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are the domain and all of the site's contents and files, an email list with around 6,200 subscribers on ConvertKit, social media accounts, SOPs, and affiliate contracts and relationships. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 53956 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock the listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. Nick, that's a very general overview about the business, as we said. Let's find out about yourself. Can you share with me what your background is in building or running online businesses?
Yeah, this would be kind of like my first, I guess, sort of success in running an online business. I had previously kind of dabbled in trying to start different things and just kind of never really got anywhere with them. I used to kind of play online poker professionally for myself for several years, so I was kind of like used to working online by myself. But yeah, this was sort of my first real business that actually kind of began to generate real revenue.
Yeah, it sounds like you've dabbled in a few things. Professional poker is definitely an interesting one. Did that come before or after trying online businesses, or kind of all just sort of start at the same time?
It was definitely before. That was probably good. I don't even know how many years ago now.
Right. And is it still something that you're doing nowadays?
No, very, very rarely. Just kind of bored with that and moved on.
So how did you transition then from poker to online businesses? What was the allure of affiliate business?
Yeah, it's kind of like I moved to China to teach English just because I needed kind of a more reasonable job, I guess. And then just kind of like was sort of learning Chinese and sort of was researching resources to use and kind of realized that there's kind of a decent opportunity to create something that's there was a lot of competition that we're not really doing a very good job, I felt like. And there was a lot of different resources that I feel like should be mentioned more. So I had kind of started doing the research and started kind of diving in and working on it that way.
Okay, gotcha. So I guess that makes sense why you started a business in this particular niche, because the site is about sort of like learning languages, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. So how does the business primarily make money? I noticed that on your listing copy, it mentions that there are around 50 affiliate programs. So can you just talk briefly about that? Yeah,
so right now all of our revenue is from affiliates. Like there's around 50 of them, but I want to say, I think it says in the listing, like the top 6 are about 70% of the revenue. So it's really diversified. I think the top one is maybe 20 or 25% or so. So it's really diversified that way. And yeah, so there's just kind of like a lot of interesting products that have affiliate programs that we're able to join. And it's kind of been nice because we've always been like really upfront ahead of time of like, hey, we're going to write what we want to write. So we don't get a lot of pushback from companies saying like, hey, you need to try to push our product really hard. So we've remained like really independent in that way.
For sure, that definitely sounds great. I like what you're saying as well about having the autonomy to write what you want because you're not overly reliant on a single affiliate partner or vendor. So that's definitely great. So you were saying about you moved to China, to Beijing to teach English, and obviously you started up an affiliate business because you wanted to basically try and earn a bit more money. Why would you say that the affiliate business model is really great for people who are interested in getting started in online businesses?
Yeah, it's really easy. Like, especially like really easy to get started. Like, it's basically just kind of sign up and put a link in the content. So you don't really need to be an expert to kind of start making good money. So I think that's kind of why it's pretty nice in that way.
Yeah, gotcha. I definitely agree that if you create really good quality content, it's pretty easy to just insert a few affiliate links and then it's pretty hands off. People sort of click on them along the way and you sort of generate quite a relatively passive income in that sense. So I understand what you're saying there. You've grown the site to considerable size and our listeners will be wondering why you're selling the business right now instead of staying with it and growing it.
It's kind of like the number one thing is sort of my wife and I kind of planning on moving back to the US and like want to be able to buy a house. So that's kind of like the big one is just kind of having that financial security kind of set that way. And then the other one is just sort of, I'm kind of that type of person who likes jumping around, like starting projects and stuff, but I don't really enjoy sort of running the project for long term, I guess. So I kind of want to like the financial security and then also like being able to kind of try new things and kind of explore new opportunities that way.
For sure. Makes sense. I think a lot of people in this space also enjoy the thrill of building new stuff and trying out new things, but not necessarily staying with it for, like the long run to really sort of scale it. So yeah, selling the business would definitely give you the capital and the flexibility to go and explore different projects, as well as give you the chance to explore moving back to the US as well. Just want to ask you then, based on your experience of building this site, was there anything that you learned that you could apply to future sites or other businesses?
Yeah, pretty much everything, I guess, because kind of when I started, I didn't really know how to do anything at all. Like, I'd never used WordPress before, never did anything with SEO before, or like creating processes or managing people. So that kind of came in with like having basically knowing nothing and kind of figuring out everything along the way. So yeah, definitely a lot of things that I've learned from starting it.
For sure, yeah. Was there any software or tools that really helped you when you were first starting to build the business?
WordPress. Yeah, like WordPress, Convert, I guess, for email marketing, but we don't actually do that much email marketing. Yeah, I guess just kind of WordPress would be the main one.
Gotcha. Okay. Was there any resources that you found especially helpful to help to skill up as an affiliate? This might be certain communities or YouTubers or just anyone or anything that's sort of a great resource for affiliate businesses.
Yeah, I haven't really paid attention to it in a few years, but I think like in my first like year or 2 years of starting the business, kind of like I read a lot of stuff on a subreddit, just like the Just subreddit. I just kind of read a ton on there for a year or two, but haven't really paid much attention to it since then.
Yeah, I think that's a decent starting resource for sure. Also, quite a lot of stuff that you have to wade to try and get through the good information. A lot of repetitive questions on there, but no, it can be useful if you're quite good with your searches. Was there anything that you tried that wasn't really giving you the ROI that you were hoping for?
Yeah, and I think it could work still. We have a YouTube channel, and it's got about 1,200 subscribers with like 14 videos on it, and I think it could work really well. I don't really want to be the person on the camera, so we've kind of, at one point we had a couple different people kind of being the face on the camera, and then we tried some videos with kind of nobody being the face and just kind of doing a voiceovers, and kind of struggled to figure out a good way to kind of turn our content into YouTube content, and I think it can work. I just think I kind of haven't done the best job with it. Another one would be Pinterest. We have a Pinterest account. I don't think it brings any real traffic, so I kind of abandoned that.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think it's one of those things where you really just have to try it and see, like throwing it at a wall and see what sticks. And yes, like you say, sometimes if it doesn't align with your strengths, it can be hard to keep going with it. So definitely sounds like there's opportunities there. And we'll touch on the opportunities in more detail in a short while. I just want to move over to the marketing side of things. Where does the majority of the traffic come from?
Yeah, I forget the percentage, but it's the vast majority is just sort of Google SEO. And then, yeah, that's the majority of it.
Gotcha. So what do you currently do in terms of marketing? Is it mainly just publishing content and optimizing for SEO?
Yeah, just kind of publishing and praying, I guess. Just kind of putting it out there and then optimizing for SEO. And yeah, that's pretty much all we've done.
Yeah. So I suppose on like a day-to-day or even a weekly basis, can you describe the type of work that you do to maintain the business?
Yeah, so I spend a lot of time kind of thinking about sort of like future opportunities for it. But for like the day-to-day of it, it would be kind of like managing sort of the process of like a few writers who are working on it. And just kind of like the vast majority of the time, especially in like the recent months, has sort of been trying to kind of build out the opportunities for the future. And actually like running of the business itself was mostly pretty automated or pretty processed, where I didn't really have to spend too much time in the details of it.
Gotcha. I was going to say, Nick, I just saw on the listing copy that content creation is sort of handled by a team of writers. Are they like in-house or are they freelance?
They're in-house, but they're kind of like 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week, kind of 20 hours a week, kind of in that range. Aren't planning on kind of continuing with the business, but there's a chance that they might be interested. I think they all really enjoyed kind of working on the business, so if there is a new buyer, I can kind of send an introduction and see if they're interested in working on it or interested in contacting them.
No, that's really great to hear. I think that might be really helpful for, like you say, a potential buyer who's interested in picking up the business but doesn't have their own established team of writers. So that might be a really good shout there. For someone who is interested in acquiring this asset, what would you say are some of the skilled requirements that they should be aware of if they're not familiar, say, with the niche or the affiliate business model?
I think kind of just sort of, I'm like far from technical. I'm not very skilled at all in that realm, but just sort of like being able to sort of figure things out on WordPress is helpful. Kind of being able to sort of like manage people, I guess, is kind of helpful too. I'm far from an expert in either of those things. Yeah, and the affiliate business model, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. So there's not really too much of a learning curve there.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. We were talking earlier about some opportunities to grow the business through Pinterest and also the YouTube channel. If you did stay with the business, what are some other ways that you would try to expand it?
So kind of in like the last, I think since the beginning of the year or a little bit later, we've kind of put a lot of attention into creating our own courses. So we've completed or nearly completed 2 of them for 2 languages. And these are essentially like the plan, or my plan with them was to kind of have them as free courses. And what we did was basically like organize a bunch of content, like free videos or blogs or exercises, and kind of added our own parts to it, like speaking exercises or writing exercises and flashcards. So we've nearly completed them for 2 languages now, and like they're really good. They're really thorough. Probably the best free course for those languages. And we've only published about half of them so far, and the other, they're kind of finishing up. Even like this past week was when one of them was finished. But we haven't done anything at all to promote them yet. So I think there's a really good way for these to both sort of like make the site so it's not just like a place where people come to figure out like which resources to use, but also like a place where people come to actually learn. So I think they could be really great for sort of like link building, authority, sort of all these different things that will kind of add a lot of value to the site. And my plan was to kind of have them as free courses, but you can still sort of monetize them by having an affiliate. For example, for one of the languages, there's one of our affiliate partners services is like the perfect complement for it. So we can kind of use that as sort of a top of funnel to send people to their affiliate program. And also it's sort of, this niche is kind of interesting because there's sort of a lot of different ways to learn, and there's no one right way for everybody. So even if people come to the course and end up not loving it, we can still kind of recommend them other affiliate products too. So I think there's like a really great kind of opportunity to sort of build this out and kind of actually promote it, because we've done nothing to promote it yet. And we've put a lot of time and a lot of money into this and just kind of haven't done anything with it yet. So that's kind of one focus area. I think there's a lot of opportunities, and I kind of spend a lot of time thinking about this. Another one that I think could go really well is incorporating more sort of user-generated content. And we've spent a lot of time actually kind of building out different rubrics for different types of resources. So I think there's 2 ways we can kind of do user-generated content. And like one is to have users sort of submit stuff on their own on the site. And then the other way would be, so we actually have like a lot of companies sort of reach out to us and like ask a full trial their products and write about it. And we've done this with one resource so far, and it worked really well. Like I thought the content was amazing and the audience liked it, but basically the company gave 15 members of our audience free access. And then we kind of gave them the scoring rubric to kind of rate everything. Yeah, so I think that's a great way to sort of create even better content than we have, which I think our content right now is really good, but I think this is kind of a really kind of differentiate ourselves even more. And also, there's even been like some companies who have said they're willing to pay us to facilitate it, plus sort of would still be an affiliate as well. So I think there's kind of potential different revenue stream that way, plus continuing with that. I have some more interesting opportunities if you want me to keep going.
Yeah, by all means, yeah. If you think there's more room to grow, that's definitely open to hearing it.
Cool. It's kind of a niche where there's like a ton of new products coming out all the time. So although we have 50 affiliate relationships, like would it be hard to add another 20 affiliate relationships to it? And like there's just sort of like more and more stuff is coming out every day, and there's a lot of interesting, really high quality content coming out. So kind of that's an interesting area. Another one is sort of actually doing some like proper link building and SEO stuff, because we've basically just published I think in over 4 years, I've probably built less than 15 links from guest postings. So kind of like putting in some proper attempts to sort of build the authority of the site would definitely pay dividends. And then the last way is not necessarily what I would want to do, but I could see the argument for why people would want to do it. So like we've always really focused on being really honest in our content and just sort of like saying what we think. But I think you could pretty easily increase the revenue, if I were to ballpark it, maybe by a good 30%, just by kind of being more intentional about promoting high-paying affiliates. Like, for example, one of our highest, I think maybe even our highest-paying affiliate, we gave them like an okay rating. Like, I think it was like a 4 out of 5 stars in that range. And would be pretty easy to just sort of, even if you don't want to change the rating, even if you just kind of want to change the copy a little bit, to kind of change the copy in a way that would lead to conversions. I think that would be a pretty easy way to increase revenue pretty significantly. And like the writers were never told which companies were affiliates for. So they always just kind of wrote based on the things that they liked. Because of that, the site is just sort of really under optimized for revenue and conversions. So if you kind of were to go back into a lot of the posts and sort of put in the higher paying affiliate things a little bit more strategically, I think you could pretty significantly increase the revenue pretty quickly. Just because we've really just focused pretty much 100% on just kind of being really honest and transparent. And it's kind of a little bit more gray hat area where doesn't really feel like what I want to do, but I could kind of see an argument why people might want to take that path.
For sure, yeah. No, thanks for sharing that. That's definitely, it sounds great because it sounds like there's tons of opportunities there, creating new products around promotion or even sort of optimizing the site to promote certain affiliate partnerships and even just securing new partnerships as well. So definitely lots of avenue for growth. I was going to ask you, what would you say are some of the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
Yeah, I mean, the number one by far would just be sort of Google algorithm updates. Just kind of, since so much of our traffic is from Google, they kind of have a lot of control there. The nice thing is we've never done anything kind of sketchy and like never done any sketchy link building or anything like that. And then the other risk, I guess, would be sort of affiliates kind of changing or cutting commissions. But I feel like that's not such a big risk just because we have so many different affiliates. And I think if one of them were to cut, another affiliate might earn more. But yeah, those are kind of the two biggest ones.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, Nick, I've only got a few last questions to wrap up this interview now. How much support are you offering buyers?
Kind of as much as they need, I guess. Like, I'm not sure what the standard exactly is, but like maybe like a month, and I wouldn't mind if they have questions later on too. I can kind of happy to help. I don't want to spend like 6 hours a day helping them for 3 months when they buy it, but like if they have a question here or there, I'll happily hop on and give suggestions or feedback or answers or whatnot.
That's great. And are you willing to commit to a non-compete?
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
Yeah, obviously I'd prefer the more cash up front, but I'm definitely open to different negotiating.
That's great to hear. Last question from me then. If you put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why would you say that this is a business worth buying?
It's kind of like a niche that's sort of exploding too, with just a ton of interesting stuff coming out every day. I think we're kind of like the leader in the niche, and like that we've kind of covered the most stuff, and I think we're kind of like seen as sort of the most trustworthy, and also like extremely under optimized. I'm sure there's a ton of, like I said, I kind of enjoy starting things, not necessarily running them. So I'm not great at optimizing stuff, and I think there's like a ton of opportunities to sort of increase revenue in that way. Yeah, I just think we're like kind of a lot of growth potential, a lot of different areas you can take it. I think it's just sort of like really solid business that, yeah, I just think it's sort of like a really solid website and kind of proud of what we built with it.
For sure, yeah. Is there anything that you think I might have missed that you'd like to share?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think we covered everything that I can think of.
Well, that's great. Nick, it's been a pleasure having you on today's interview. Really looking forward to seeing your business get picked up by the right buyer in the near future.
Awesome. Yeah, it was really great talking with you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 53956. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked the listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.